Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Cynthia Nurlaini. You can call me Cynthia. Here I want to tell you what will I do in this video. This video to complete the interpreting class tasks. So I will interpret the speaker say. Okay. This a video from TED official. The speaker talking about what make you special. And she is a journalist.
Thank you so much. I am a journalist. My job is to talk to people from all walks of life all over the world. Today I want to tell you why I decided to do this with my life and what I've learned.
Speaker mengatakan, terima kasih banyak. Dan dia adalah seorang jurnalis. Tugas saya berbicara dengan berbagai kalangan masyarakat di seluruh dunia. Hari ini saya akan menyampaikan mengapa saya melakukan hal ini dan pelajaran apa yang saya dapatkan.
My story begins in Caracas, Venezuela, in South America, where I grew up. A place that to me was and always will be filled with magic and wonder. From a very young age, my parents wanted me to have a wider view of the world.
Selanjutnya, cerita saya dimulai dari Caracas, Venezuela di Amerika Selatan. Saya tumbuh besar, satu tempat yang menurut saya adalah dan akan selalu penuh daya tarik dan keajaiban sejak kecil. Orang tua saya menginginkan saya memiliki pandangan luas tentang dunia.
I remember one time when I was around 7 years old, my dad came up to me and said, Mariana, I'm going to send you and your little sister, who was 6 at the time, to a place where nobody speaks Spanish. I want you to experience different cultures.
Selanjutnya, saya ingat, saya berumur sekitar 7 tahun, ayah saya mendatangi saya dan berkata, Mariana, ayah akan mengirimmu dan adik perempuanmu yang berumur 6 tahun itu ke tempat yang tak seorang pun berbahasa Spanyol. Ayah ingin kamu merasakan budaya lain.
He went on and on about the benefits of spending an entire summer in this summer camp in the United States, stressing a little phrase that I didn't pay too much attention to at the time.
Dia terus bercerita tentang keuntungan melewatkan sepanjang musim panas di sebuah perkemahan musim panas di Amerika Serikat dengan sedikit penekanan yang saya tak peduli sama sekali waktu itu.
You never know what the future holds. Meanwhile, in my 7-year-old mind, I was thinking we were going to get to summer camp in Miami.
Kamu tak pernah tahu bagaimana masa depan nanti. Sementara itu, di pikiran saya waktu itu, saya membayangkan kami akan pergi ke perkemahan musim panas di Miami.
Maybe it was going to be even better, and we were going to go a little further north to Orlando, where Mickey Mouse lived.
Mungkin malah lebih menyenangkan, mungkin kami akan berkunjung sedikit ke arah utara di Orlando, tempat tinggal Mickey Mouse.
I got really excited. My dad, however, had a slightly different plan. From Caracas, he sent us to Brainerd, Minnesota.
Saya sangat bersemangat, tapi ayah punya rencana yang sedikit berbeda. Dari Caracas, dia mengatakan kami ke Brainerd, Minnesota.
Mickey Mouse was not up there. And with no cell phone, no Snapchat or Instagram, I couldn't look up any information.
Mickey Mouse tak ada di sana. Di sana juga tak ada ponsel, Snapchat, atau Instagram. Saya tidak bisa mencari informasi apapun.
We get there, and one of the first things I noticed was that the other kids' hair was several shades of blonde, and most of them had blue eyes.
Kami tiba di sana, salah satu hal yang pertama kali yaitu rambut anak-anak lain dengan beragam warna pirang dan hampir semua bermata biru.
Meanwhile, this is what we looked like. The first night, the camp director gathered everyone around the campfire and said, Kids, we have a very international camp this year.
Sementara rambut kami seperti ini, malam pertama pemandu perkemahan mengatur kami mengelilingi api unggun, kemudian berkata, anak-anak perkemahan tahun ini sangat bernuansa internasional.
The Atencios are here from Venezuela. The other kids looked at us as if we were from another planet. They would ask us things like, do you know what a hamburger is? Or, do you go to school in a donkey or a canoe?
Di sini ada keluarga Ernesto dari Venezuela. Anak-anak lain memandangi kami seolah-olah kami berasal dari planet lain. Mereka menanyakan beberapa hal seperti apakah kalian tahu hamburger? Apakah kalian sekolah naik keledai atau perahu, canoe?
I would try to answer in my broken English, and they would just laugh. And I know they were not trying to be mean. They were just trying to understand who we were and make a correlation with the world they knew.
Selanjutnya, saya jawab dengan bahasa Inggris yang berantakan dan mereka kemudian tertawa. Saya tahu mereka tidak berniat kasar. Mereka hanya ingin mencoba memahami siapa kami dan menghubungkan dengan lingkungan yang mereka tahu.
We could either be like them or like characters out of a book filled with adventures like Aladdin or The Jungle Book. We certainly didn't look like them. We didn't speak their language. We were different.
Selanjutnya, kami bisa saja seperti mereka, seperti tokoh dari buku cerita dengan segudang petualangan, seperti Aladdin atau The Jungle Book. Jelas kami tak terlihat seperti mereka, tidak juga memakai bahasa yang sama, kami berbeda.
And when you're 7 years old, that hurts. But I had my little sister to take care of. She cried every day at summer camp.
Ketika berumur 7 tahun, hal ini tentu menyakitkan, tapi saya punya adik yang harus saya jaga dan saat itu dia menangis setiap hari di perkemahan.
So I decided to put on a brave face and embrace everything I could about the American way of life. We later did what we called the summer camp experiment for 8 years in different cities that many Americans haven't even heard of. What I remember most about these moments was when I finally clicked with someone.
Oleh karena itu, saya bersikap tegar dan menerima semua gaya hidup orang Amerika. Kemudian kami berkegiatan berupa percobaan perkemahan musim panas selama 8 tahun di kota berbeda yang bahkan orang Amerika sendiri belum tahu. Yang paling berkesan saat itu adalah ketika saya akrab dengan seseorang.
Making a friend was a special reward. Everybody wants to feel valued and accepted, and we think it should happen spontaneously, but it doesn't.
Mendapatkan seorang teman adalah hal yang istimewa. Semua orang ingin dihargai dan diterima, dan kita pikir ini akan terjadi secara spontan, tapi ternyata tidak begitu.
When you're different, you have to work at belonging. You have to be either really helpful, smart, funny, anything to be cool for the crowd you want to hang out with.
Ketika Anda berbeda, Anda harus mempunyai salah satu dari hal ini. Anda suka menolong, pintar, lucu, atau apapun itu yang terdengar keren bagi kelompok di mana Anda ingin diterima.
Later on, when I was in high school, my dad expanded on his summer plan, and from Caracas, he sent me to Wallingford, Connecticut for senior year of high school.
Saat saya di sekolah menengah, ayah memperluas rencana musim panasnya. Dari Caracas, dia mengirim saya ke Wellington, Connecticut.
This time, I remember daydreaming on the plane about the American high school experience. With a locker. It was going to be perfect, just like in my favorite TV show, Saved by the Bell.
Pada saat itu, saya teringat menghayal di atas pesawat tentang pengalaman sekolah menengah di Amerika Serikat, lengkap dengan lokernya. Kelihatannya menyenangkan, seperti di acara TV favorit saya, Saved by the Bell.
I get there, and they tell me that my assigned roommate is eagerly waiting. I open the door, and there she was, sitting on the bed.
Saat tiba di sana, saya diberitahu bahwa teman sekamar saya sudah menunggu. Saya buka pintu dan lihat dia duduk di tempat tidur.
With a headscarf. Her name was Fatima, and she was Muslim from Bahrain, and she was not what I expected.
Memakai jilbab, namanya Fatima, seorang Muslim asal Bahrain. Dia bukan orang yang saya harapkan.
She probably sensed my disappointment when I looked at her because I didn't do too much to hide it. See, as a teenager, I wanted to fit in even more. I wanted to be popular and maybe have a boyfriend for prom.
Sepertinya dia merasakan kecewaan saya karena saya tidak berusaha menutupinya. Sebagai remaja, saya ingin diterima di lingkungan. Saya juga ingin populer, punya pacar yang menemani ke acara prom.
And I felt that Fatima just got in the way with her shyness and her strict dress code.
Karenanya, saya anggap Fatima bisa jadi halangan dengan sikap pemalu dan pakaiannya yang tertutup.
I didn't realize that I was making her feel like the kids at summer camp made me feel. This was the high school equivalent of asking her, "Do you know what a hamburger is?"
Tanpa saya sadari, justru saya membuat dia merasakan yang saya rasa saat masih anak-anak. Di perkemahan lalu, ini sama saja dengan menanyakan pertanyaan, apakah kamu tahu hamburger?
I was consumed by my own selfishness and unable to put myself in her shoes. I have to be honest with you. We only lasted a couple of months together because she was later sent to live with a counselor.
Saya dipengaruhi rasa egois waktu itu. Saya tidak mencoba memposisikan diri saya di posisinya. Jujur saja kami tinggal sekamar hanya beberapa bulan karena dia kemudian dipindahkan sekamar dengan konselor.
Instead of other students. And I remember thinking, she'll be okay. She's just different. You see, when we label someone as different, it dehumanizes them in a way.
Ketimbang siswa yang lain, saya dulu berpikir dia akan baik-baik saja. Dia memang berbeda. Saat kita labeli seorang berbeda, berarti kita tidak memanusiakan mereka.
They become the other. They're not worthy of our time, not our problem. And in fact, they, the other, are probably the cause of our problems.
Mereka menjadi yang lain, mereka tidak berharga bagi kita, mereka bukan masalah kita. Sebenarnya mereka yang lain justru bisa jadi adalah penyebab masalah kita.
So how do we recognize our blind spots? It begins by understanding what makes you different, by embracing those traits. Only then can you begin to appreciate what makes others special.
Nah, bagaimana kita mengetahui kekurangan diri sendiri? Mudahlah dengan memahami apa yang membuat berbeda dengan cara menerima perbedaan tersebut. Dengan begitu, Anda kemudian bisa menerima apa yang membuat orang lain spesial.
And I remember when this hit me, it was a couple of months after that. I had found that boyfriend for prom and made a group of friends and practically forgotten about Fatima until everybody signed.
Saya ingat ketika menyadari ini, itu terjadi beberapa bulan setelah kejadian itu. Saya sudah punya pacar untuk diajak ke prom. Mempunyai beberapa teman, karenanya saya melupakan Fatima. Sampai suatu hari,
on to participate in this talent show for charity. You needed to offer a talent for auction. And it seemed like everybody had something special to offer. Some kids were
Sampai suatu hari, tiap siswa harus ikut di pertunjukan bakat untuk amal. Saya harus menunjukkan bakat yang akan dilelang. Tampaknya setiap orang mempunyai suatu hal yang spesial untuk ditampilkan.
going to play the violin, others were going to recite a theater monologue. And I remember thinking, we don't practice talents like these back home.
Beberapa siswa akan memainkan biola, yang lain akan membawakan monolog teater dan saya sempat merenung, tak ada pertunjukan bakat seperti ini di negara kami.
But I was determined to find something of value. So the day of the talent show comes and I get up on stage with my little boombox, I put it on the side and I press play, and a song by my favorite emerging artist, Shakira.
Tapi saya bertekad menampilkan sesuatu yang berniat. Hari pertunjukan bakat pun tiba. Saya tampil di panggung dengan boombox mini, meletakkannya di samping dan menekan tombol putar. Terdengarlah lagu dari artis favorit saya, Shakira.
Comes up. And I go, whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. And I said, my name is Mariana, and I'm gonna auction a dance class.
Saya bernyanyi dan menari. Whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. Kemudian saya berkata, saya Mariana akan melelang sebuah kelas dansa.
And it seemed like the whole school raised their hand to bid. My dance class really stood out from like the 10th violin class offered that day. And going back to my dorm room, I didn't feel different. I felt really special.
Tampaknya, santero sekolah angkat tangan menawar kelas dansa saya sangat menonjol dibanding misalnya 10 kelas biola yang ditawarkan hari itu. Saat kembali ke asrama, saya tidak merasa berbeda. Saya sangat merasa spesial.
And that's when I started thinking about Fatima, a person that I had failed to see as special when I first met her. She was from the Middle East, just like Shakira's family was from the Middle East. She could have probably taught me a thing or two about belly dancing.
Waktu itulah saya mulai berpikir tentang Fatima, seorang yang tidak saya pandang spesial saat pertama bertemu. Dia berasal dari Timur Tengah, sama seperti keluarga Shakira yang juga dari sana. Dia bisa saja mengajari beberapa gerakan tari perut.
Had I been open to it. Now I want you all to take that sticker that was given to you at the beginning of our session today, where you wrote down what makes you special, and I want you to look at it. If you're watching at home, take a piece of paper and write down what makes you different.
Jika saya menanyakan padanya, sekarang saya ingin Anda mengambil stiker yang diberikan kepada Anda pada awal pertemuan kita hari ini. Saat Anda tulis apa yang membuat Anda spesial dan saya ingin Anda melihatnya, penonton di rumah silakan ambil selembar kertas dan tulislah apa yang membuat Anda berbeda.
You may feel guarded when you look at it, maybe even a little ashamed, maybe even proud. But you need to begin to embrace it. Remember, it is the first step in appreciating what makes others special.
Anda mungkin merasa waspada, mungkin sedikit malu, mungkin juga bangga saat membacanya. Tapi Anda perlu menerima hal ini. Ingat, itulah tahap awal menghargai apa yang membuat orang lain spesial.
When I went back home to Venezuela, I began to understand how these experiences were changing me. Being able to speak different languages, to navigate all these different people and places, it gave me a unique sensibility. I was finally beginning to understand the importance of putting myself in other people's shoes. And that is a big part of the reason why I decided to become a journalist.
Ketika saya pulang ke Venezuela, saya mulai menyadari betapa pengalaman ini mengubah saya. Saya sudah bisa berkomunikasi dengan bahasa yang berbeda. Saya bisa memahami perbedaan tiap orang maupun tiap daerah. Di mana hal ini membuat saya menjadi lebih peka. Akhirnya saya mulai memahami betapa pentingnya memposisikan diri saya di posisi orang lain. Ini alasan terbesar saya menjadi seorang jurnalis. Okay, that is a video and what and how I do interpret, and thank you very much and happy watching.